is approved.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming despite it being a holiday week. I know a lot of people are on vacation, not us though, right? So, dates to remember. We have our, tomorrow's class is face-to-face with the seller, getting hired by Joe Rico. This is an excellent class. You guys should go actually be in Fresh Meadows face-to-face with Joe. He, as everybody here should know, is a top agent who actually does his CMA presentation. So who better to learn from than an actual producing agent, all right? So that's tomorrow, 9:30 in Fresh Meadows. It will be streamed here, but again, this is one that's better face-to-face, okay? Wednesday, why the buyer should hire you, Denise Zato's here. That is buyer brokerage. So we're stressing more and more that when you guys are working with buyers, you should be working as a buyer's agent. So Denise goes through from beginning to end how to convince them that that's the best way for you to work, all right? A couple of save the dates. So our awards gala is March 4th. That's at Chateaubriand. I think it starts around 6 or 6:30. There's a sign-up sheet at the front desk. As always, anyone who's an award winner, Gold Circle, Quality Service, and above, is free. Anybody who's not an award winner can still go. It's $40, okay? And it's a great day. Even if you're not an award winner, it's a good thing to go because it helps you get motivated, you know, that one day you want to be up there and you want to get an award as well. But also you're cheering on your fellow agents, you know, congratulating them for the hard work that they put in the past year. It's also a fun event. So for $40, you get food and drinks and you get to hang out with your coworkers, so it's a lot of fun. So if you want to go, just sign up at the front desk. And then also in March 25th is our next fundraiser for the Heart of American Homes Foundation. It's a casino night. Maria Becker is our rep in this office, so she's got the tickets. I believe they're $50. That includes open bar and food, and they do give you some casino chips. So I'm not much of a gambler. I lost my chips pretty quickly last year, so my night ended early. But if you're a good gambler, maybe you'll enjoy it. And again, all the proceeds go to Heart of American Homes Foundation. They do have raffle baskets, so try to attend that if you can. All right, numbers. You know, lately I've been glossing over the numbers. Today I'm going to concentrate on the numbers because we're already the third week into February and we're falling behind already. So we need to really step it up, all right? Look, this month in February, we took 3 listings so far. That's 1 a week. That's really pathetic. All right, under contracts, I know there's a lot of firsts out there, a lot of half-signed things. I know of at least, we have 8 that we put into contract already. There's at least another 10 sides of business that I know about, so that's good. So I'm seeing maybe things are picking up. Is that what you guys are seeing? Yes, no, maybe no? No? Okay. And then closing, so we've only had 7 closings so far for a GCI of 43. But as you guys know, big green letters there on your agenda, we're supposed to be closing $143,000 every month in order to reach our goal of gold medallion. So we're behind because we haven't even done that yet in 7 weeks. So we really need to step it up. So because we didn't do it in January, didn't do it in February, we're gonna have to do extra in March, April, May, and so on and so forth. You guys got that? So do you see where I'm going with this? Right? We want gold medallion. I don't want to start off the year knowing we're behind the 8 ball already. The positive news is that our under contracts are up year over year. So we put in, I don't know, so far 80,000 so far this month. So we have another week to go. So we have more than we did last February at this time. So I think we only put like 70,000 in last February. You guys follow what I'm saying? Like last year, February 2019, we put in about 70,000. This year we already did 80. So that's a good trend, but we need to do better. So how do we do that? Well, you guys have to work a little more, right? So I'm bringing back the Roll to the Next Level contest that we did last March. All right, so that's why you guys have this sheet here with all of the activities that you should be doing as agents, okay? So you get different points for different activities in order, and what you'll do is every Friday, we'll do a roll. We have this big dice. I'll show you the big dice. I actually have it here. See? Big dice. It needs a little air. You have to roll the big dice, and then whatever number you land on, there'll be a box with prizes in it, and you get to pick a prize. All right? So, every week, if you put 7 points on the board, you get to roll to the next level, meaning you get to pick a prize. All right? And they're usually, last year I did like a ream of paper, I did envelopes, I did pens and, stationery. So if you guys have any ideas on, other things that you want, labels, I gave labels one year. So, if you guys have ideas of weekly prizes, it can't be anything too extravagant, because I gotta buy all this stuff, by the way. And you guys haven't made any money yet, so I need to buy it and lay it out first. The grand prize at the end, whoever has the most points at the end of the 4 weeks will get a $500 gift card. Right? So, I believe Lily was our winner last year. So, but she's ready to be taken down, people. Let's go.
Yes.
That's scary. It's anybody's game. I mean, this is all stuff you guys should be doing anyway, buyer showings, if you write any buyer broker contracts, purchase offers, listing presentations, those are all points. If you take a listing, you get 2 points, with the bonus if you list in Franklin Square. So that's 3 for a Franklin Square listing. Door knocking, all right? These are all things you guys should be doing. We're not reinventing the wheel. So I'm gonna give you a prize. If you do 7 points worth of business in a week, then you get a prize, all right?
This, because I'm new and
I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance. Everybody, this is Faye Azuhari. She's our newest recruit.
Hi, Faye.
Welcome her.
Thank you. I see your expires that come in and I'm like, oh God, this seems intimidating. One, they're further away, which I would not mind going to, but maybe I'd start slow. So do I just call these people and just start?
We'll get into that. I'll show you. There's a whole thing for you to learn. Don't worry. Ooh, sorry. It's okay. So maybe that's not gonna be where you start, but don't worry, you're gonna catch up, so. So this contest will run, it's gonna start next Friday, February 28th, and go to Thursday, April 2nd, okay? Because it goes, you have to turn in your sheet by 5 o'clock on Thursday, all right? So your first turn-in would be whatever that first Thursday is in March. So you have to do it by 5 o'clock that Thursday in order to qualify to roll on Friday, okay? Regardless of if we have a meeting or not, we'll do a roll, all right? And it will be videotaped, so make sure you're dressed appropriately and ready to be on camera, because I'm using this social media, okay? So be prepared. But mailings, for people that don't like door knocking. When we first did this, back when I was in Baldwin, I used to be #1 because I would do tons and tons of mailing. I did e-campaigns. So, if you're not the one person. It could be anything. It could be if you take out an ad in a penny saver. If you do, I don't know, give me ideas of other ads.
Like in a religious organization, maybe?
Right, yeah, if you put something in a newspaper or
But
like
only
a
1
church
point?
bulletin or, whatever. Could be anything, all right? You want to take out a TV ad, maybe I'll give you 2 points for that. All right. So, any questions on this? Right, exactly. Well, this is a business, right? We gotta spend money to make money, so. You're really playing because everybody wants that box of labels that I give you, right? So that's really where all the way. So any questions on this? Are we all ready to do it? All right. So just, either tell me in person, you're probably better off emailing me or texting me saying you want to participate, just so I don't forget.
So
Does
it
happen?
starts February 28th, the first thing will be due next week.
The following Thursday, yeah, I don't have, somebody have their calendar in front of them? You can tell whatever that date is, so this is a leap year, so that Saturday is 29th, so what is it?
2nd of March is a Thursday.
Thursday, yeah, so that's when you have to turn in your paper by. March 7th.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, maybe March 4th?
March 5.
No, there's
March 5th.
March 5th is Thursday.
Thursday, all right, so Thursday, March 5th, that's when this first sheet is due, okay?
So every Thursday.
Sorry,
night,
Joe, you choose to go to Yankee spring training in the middle of March, so if you wanna work down in Florida though, you can still do it.
It's not easy.
There you go, you can still do it.
There's a couple of listings there,
There's a kind
Joe.
of point to that.
I might have to amend my plan.
If you sign up one of the Yankees mansions, I'll give you 10 points right on the spot, how about that?
I heard
There you
Derek
go.
Jeter is thinking of making a movie
There you
now
go.
in the near future.
There you go.
If you can put our company there, you get the $500.
There you go, yep. So, but there's other things, you also get, to help me with my job, recruiting bonuses, right? So if you bring in somebody who's an a new agent recruits scheduled appointments, you get one point for that. If it's an experienced agent, 2 points. If I hire that experienced agent, it's 5 points,
Wow.
okay? So you could make all 7 points in 1 week if you refer an experienced agent to me that I wind up recruiting. There you go, there's your 7 points for the week and you get to roll. All right? Doesn't help your business very much, but it helps the company as a whole. So any questions on that? No? We're good? We're ready to make some money in March? Please say yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
So this has to be handed in every week.
Yeah, you can email it to me every Thursday. Has to be to me by Thursday at 5 o'clock. Okay? All right, so that's that. All right, the next thing is dual agency. Okay, so you guys have sat here and you've listened to me tout how when you fill out a listing document, you're supposed to have dual agent and dual agent with designated agent filled out, right? Well, it was brought to my attention that it's the company policy that we don't practice dual agency. So I have to now retrain you on how to fill out an agency form. Yes, I'm not happy about this either, so. All right, so when you take a listing, okay, new agency disclosure form, right? You're sitting in front of the seller. You fill out your name, seller, as a seller's agent, okay? We used to check off this and this. You're no longer checking off the top one, okay? We used to explain there could come a time in the future where I may have my own buyer client that is perfect for your home, Mr. and Mrs. Home, seller. So in that case, dual agency will kick in. You're not even gonna discuss it. Can't happen, all right? The company policy is no dual agency. So, it should happen very, very rarely. I mean, when do you guys have a buyer client that you sell your own listing to, right? If you're selling your own listing, doesn't mean that that buyer's a client. They may just be a customer that came into an open house. So that's usually what happens, okay? It's not usually a client. A client would be my sister, my brother, my cousin wants to buy my listing. So in that case, what's gonna have to happen is we can still do dual agent with designated sales agency. And you'd fill out the TBD and your name here, okay? This is 99% of the time what's gonna happen is Lily has a client that'd be perfect for my house. That's happening anyway. Lily is representing her buyer, I'm representing the seller. Everyone's got that, okay? The only time it's gonna kick in, and if it does happen, come see me and we'll figure out how to do it, because there are questions on compensation and all of that. You just can't have both sides if they're both your clients. Does everybody follow me on that?
Yeah.
I know, I've trained you for how many years? I've been here 5 years and I've been telling you this, and apparently I've been wrong for 5 years. But that's how it's being taught in the agency class as well. So forget anything you learned at the agency class. From now on, we don't even, I'm gonna actually see if we can get this line stricken out on our forms on .loop, because just don't even fill it out. Cross it out if you want to, you just need to do this bottom one from now on.
So in a sense, we could be doing dual agency, but we're just not.
No, you're not gonna be doing dual agency.
But when you just gave that looked like that, when you just
No,
said
you're
that.
doing dual agency with designated agency,
Okay.
okay?
Whoa.
So, believe me, you'll learn all this. All right, so any questions?
What brought on the change?
Apparently, this was the company's policy all along, but when Dan came in and trained us, we started doing it the way he teaches it in his class. So with the whole thing with this landlord and the, not paying the rent and everything, they said, well, we'll make an exception for, for tenants, for a dual agency. So that's when it was brought up, wait a minute, we don't do dual agency, we're explaining it, you teach it in the classes, and no, it's always been the company policy that we don't do dual agency. And I should shut up because I'm being recorded. Anyway, so, yeah, so it was brought to our attention, so now I just have to retrain you guys on that.
So So I have a question,
Mhm.
because it happens to me, and I'm working, I have a family member that's looking to buy a property.
But they're not buying your property.
If they would happen to buy one of our properties, what happens? How can I not? then-
Come see me and we'll talk about it then. You'll have to designate somebody. It depends on who you had as a client first. You will represent whoever you had first. So if you were working with the family member first and then get the
And then
listing,
listing, okay.
then maybe you're representing the buyer and Connie's representing the seller.
Oh, can it be me and Connie?
Yeah, you just can't both be on the listing at the same time at that,
Oh.
then.
Oh, so then it's not a problem.
No, with
Okay.
you guys, it's not gonna be a problem because you do everything together anyway. Where I'm gonna have a problem if, say, Brian
But this-
gets, has a listing and then wants to sell his brother that listing, and now we have to designate somebody to his brother, how does that person get compensated? That's where I'm gonna have the issue.
I seem to remember in previous classes, they said it can't be the partner as the designated agent.
It's possible, I have to look further into it. Like I said, this is new to me.
That's the situation.
I've
It's
been
not a
doing it
problem.
one way for so long, I have to find out. That's why I said, if it comes up, because this
Okay.
hardly ever comes up.
Mhm.
So we can, woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever, and it may never come up. But if it comes up, then we'll deal with it and we'll find out all the answers at that time.
Like, I sold my daughter a co-op in Cedarhurst that was listed by a different Century 21 American Homes.
Oh.
So that's designated, that's not a dual
That doesn't
agency.
come into it.
Dual agency is only when you have the listing
Oh.
and you have the client. So if you had the listing and your daughter was gonna buy it, then, like, take for example, right now, Joan Fusco is listing her daughter's apartment. Luckily, she only has the one daughter, but what if her niece wants to buy that?
Right.
She then has a dual agency situation, so we probably have to switch to a designated agency at that point. So I have to firm some of the details out, just know for future going forward, if you take a listing, you're not checking off this top because it's not gonna be, there can't come a time in the future where this is gonna kick in because it's not company policy, that's all. So you do fill out the bottom, okay? The same thing when you're taking a buyer-client, all right? So we always do both. When you do a buyer-client, again, you're not doing the top. Everyone clear on that? As clear as possible? If you have any questions, come see me and I'll walk you through it. Okay? All right, so our other big topic, anyone read my email about today's discussion? I give you homework, right, to be prepared?
Today's Tuesday, apparently they're subpoenaing agents.
Yes, well, we knew that was coming, yeah. They said that after, because I went to that Hofstra meeting, and the only person who came was the president of Realogy, and 180-something people got notices.
Okay.
They didn't get subpoenaed, so
Okay.
it was just an invitation, so they were
And they-
advised by the
and they-
brokers and the owners of the companies, you don't need to go. So now,
So now there's.
the powers that be want to hear from them and will be subpoenaed, so. It's not over, we haven't heard anything about it in a couple of weeks, but it's not over by far. Some of the other agents in the company have been brought before the Department of State already. So we're just waiting for,
Some of it
The rest is
was
shootable.
so blatant,
oh yeah,
and some of it was kind of sort of smelled of
some of it was a stretch,
Yeah.
some of it was a
It was a
stretch,
stretch.
like we,
I was following.
Tom always talks about Gina Minatoli. She's an agent in our East Meadow office. She's a great agent. She's one of the top producing agents. They tried to say that she treated a Spanish tester differently than a white tester because she sent the white tester neighborhoods that were like 80% white, and then sent the Spanish tester properties that were 78% white. That's like, and you know what, the thing is, so in that case, and she didn't say or do anything wrong, it was just a matter of which properties, you guys know, you set somebody up on a prospect match, it's whatever's available, that meets their criteria on that day. These testers a lot of times came between three months, 6 months apart. So the inventory is gonna be very different, okay?
And when you have a buyer who says, I only want to go here.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing, you're letting them
I don't
designate
care
where to
how
go
many,
to.
how many other buyers I have.
Should you always do that, let the buyer
The
designate?
buyer's supposed to, yes, yeah, the buyer's supposed to choose. What happened in this case was, these testers came in and they said, well, I can afford $475, I don't know where I wanna be 45 minutes from the city. That's pretty much half of Long Island.
Yeah.
So, so that, what happened in the past was agents would say, well, you wanna be here, and these, I don't know if you saw the article, but you should read it and see the videos. Some of these people blatantly said, oh no, you know, you don't wanna be in Amityville School District, or you don't wanna be in this school district. That's a big no-no. You can't tell them where they wanna be and don't wanna be, they have to decide that. So, for today's discussion, this came up because I just did my buyer class. And I'm guilty of this. In the past, when, you know, you don't get to do it as much anymore, presenting your own offers, right? Especially if it's buyer client, you wanna speak directly to that seller. You have a right, according to MLS, to do a conference call with the seller. So let's say the story that I said, and you tell me how many fair housing rules I violated. So I show this house in Franklin Square to a young couple. Okay. First, they take the fiance, who's a female, and her mother-in-law to see this house in Franklin Square. We walk in, she sees a picture on the wall of this Irish cottage that reminds her of her grandmother's house. I knew I have her. Take the boyfriend back, or the fiance back the next day wearing an FTNY t-shirt, and meanwhile in the basement there's FTNY paraphernalia as far as the eye can see. I apologize to anyone who's heard this story because I tell it all the time. So I know that that's my connection to this woman. This woman was a widow, her husband died, he was an FDNY firefighter. So she thought that her dead husband sent this couple to her to buy her house, okay? Don't you think I'm gonna use that in my, my negotiation? So when I did the conference call with the seller, I said, you remember that nice young couple that I showed the property to? She, loved the picture of the house reminded her of her grandmother's house back in Ireland. He's the FTNY firefighter. She works as a teacher, she's worked for 20 years, makes $80,000. He's a fire department, makes $80,000. So combined income's great. They're pre-approved with my mortgage lender. This is their number, 20% down. Okay, so I thought I was doing everything to put them in the best light. What did I do wrong?
You said young couple.
Okay, there's one.
Her Irish heritage
There you go.
and the fire department and the.
I don't know about the fire department so much. That's why I want to discuss this. That's his job. Job is not a protected class.
Yeah.
When somebody's buying a house, there's no source of income. I mean, there is a source of income because he's got a steady job, but it's not like we're violating any kind of programs.
Yeah, but see, it's the buyer who feels that that's their connection, this house is them.
Right.
I had it with Hofstra.
Mm-hmm.
Person selling the house, graduated Hofstra. The person, Joe,
Mhm.
buying the house, that was his sign, that's supposed to be his house.
Right. Okay, so how should I have presented that offer that would be, still put my buyers in the best light, but without violating fair housing?
No demographics, I guess, like not hitting to any of the demographics, other than what they make and, ability to pay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I didn't think quantify, not qualify, but as a human being, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said, so, it's.
Right, but there is, right? So now, back in the day, Lily can attest to this, buyers used to put a letter in the mailbox, or they used to send a letter along with their offer to the homeowner.
They're still doing it.
Right, well, they're not supposed to be
They're
doing
still
it.
doing it.
So if a homeowner is found that they chose the young couple over the older couple
Right.
because they had kids, that's a fair housing violation, right?
Don't she's in it, but
It's getting,
don't talk, it's crazy.
How about couple?
It's a human being.
Right, couple is another thing, because, familial status,
And you want to
right.
have people.
Familial status is another.
Others ask, who was it? The people, young people, young kids, or?
Okay, so that's the point, that's why I wanted to have this discussion, because it's a touchy subject, and I teach in my buyers class, when you're presenting an offer, you wanna put your buyers in the best light possible, especially, right, you wanna make the seller love them, right? And maybe the seller was there when you showed the property and they played with their kids, or, they offered them cookies, or, the woman was bragging about, oh, I love how you decorated it, These things all happen because it's human nature, to try to make a
So
connection.
you couldn't say about the kids?
Nope, you
You're
broke
just trying to
familial
tell-
status.
Just trying to tell them who it was.
No, I know, but you can't do it. That's what I'm saying, is we have to change our narrative. Joe?
I've had people, sellers, ask me,
Who wants it?
When I present an offer, when I'm talking about an offer, I've had sellers ask me, where are you from a showing? Do they have children? So I'm not supposed to answer that?
No.
I'm supposed to lie to
So
them?
what do you say?
I don't
No,
know.
you're not supposed to say that. I mean, that's why we're having this
Well,
conversation.
I'm like a dumbass.
That's why we're supposed to have a conversation. So, what,
You can't answer. I mean, it's one thing to say it, but if
right,
the seller.
guys, let's bring it back, guys. Guys,
If the seller asks you a direct question, well, you know, I had 6 people, was this the young couple with the children, or was it the retired couple?
Sure,
Yeah, they have to know,
responsibility.
right?
you
Because
say.
there's so many people coming in.
How do you identify people?
right, well, that's the question.
I don't know.
That's the question.
That gives me something
You gotta
very,
call
too
them down.
restrictive to do our job.
That's where the line is. very-
So, the point is, it should come down to the numbers, not the people. That's what I think it's coming down to. To be safe,
You're not supposed to tell them their income either.
Why?
No, that's for rental.
that's.
No, but I'm saying, that's the
sale?
consensus of people that I've spoken to.
And a lot of times you don't know that. A lot of times you don't know that. I started doing that because I had an experienced agent that was like, well, how much are they making? And I just automatically assumed that that's what you're supposed to do, but technically, you know, a buyer could lie about their income, meanwhile I'm spouting their lies. So it's trouble. It
No,
could
but
be
you're
trouble.
believing the people in
Right.
good faith.
Exactly.
This is not
What it
adversarial.
should really come to is their pre-approval and their numbers. This is a ready, willing, and able buyer, okay? So I have these people, this is the number that they're looking to offer. This is their down payment, they can move quickly or slowly, whatever, like your terms are really gonna be what you need to
They're
stress.
making people as a robots because no feeling, no connection,
All right,
nothing. You
we
just-
can sit here and we can gripe about it all we want. You know when it's really gonna be a problem is when somebody calls us out on it, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I wish I had done this before. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know it still goes on. And as I was teaching that class, and I started to give the example I've given for, how many years am I teaching that class? 8 years? You know, twice a year, or, you know, 4 times a year, I give this class, and I tell these new agents the same thing, and I'm like, I really need to change my thought process. So, which is what made me think to bring it here, is that if I'm doing it still, some people are also doing it.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Okay, so my listing in East Rockaway, somebody came to, another agent showed it, but their kids go to school together, the daughter plays with the daughter.
Mhm.
So they want me to tell the owner that who they are, because their kids are friends, so now I.
Well, they'll know that when they present the offer. When they present the offer, this is Mr. and Mrs. Jones. They live in East Rockaway currently, they'll figure it out.
Not necessarily.
But maybe, or maybe it
Because there are a
doesn't.
lot of- Because she said, I'm not sure she knows my last name, but now I'm not supposed to say her kids, and
It
then
could be,
what's
it
gonna
could be a
happen?
problem,
If
that's what
they
I'm
find
saying.
out I didn't tell them, then there is another thing, like I lied because I wanted to
You have to
sell it
tell
for
them, you know
my-
what, fair housing laws prevent me from discussing that. That's what you have to say, unfortunately, that is our phrase now, you know? Because what if you do it for that person, and you don't do it for the next person who
The
says,
situation may be different with the next person.
right, exactly, that's what I'm saying. But, okay, let's take this for example, so, I don't know what the ethnicity is of the person Lily just spoke about, but now somebody that's a very similar situation to Lily's, you know, this couple she's talking about, now there's somebody else in that same school district, everything else being the same except for the ethnicity, and now they do that, and they choose the one over the other.
But we're not talking ethnicity.
Well,
We're
it could
talking
be,
kids in the
it could
school.
be, it could be, right. But I'm saying, all other things being different, everything else being the same, but the ethnicity is different. Now the seller chooses one over the other because of the ethnicity. Whether they tell us or not, it could be seen as that. So you're better off saying less. What I'm saying is, you know how, first of all, a lot of this isn't even gonna come to play because you can't present your offers directly anymore anyway. 90% of the listings, when you look at them, says cannot be present. So what are you doing? You're sending paperwork over to a listing agent that's gonna present your offer. So what do they do when they present the offer? They're not saying anything about your buyers. They're saying, okay, so this offer is, $450, 20% down, conventional loan, can move in, 60 days, blah, blah, blah. The next offer is $450, all cash, flexible on moving, right? That's what they're doing.
Or they're just presenting all the offers and saying that their offer is the best one.
Well, there you
Take
go.
it.
That's, yeah,
0%.
that's besides the point. So that goes back to the point of, we need to be listing agents so we
Yeah,
control
they
the
should go after
inventory.
those
That's the
people.
bottom line. We should have the listings so that we control the inventory. That's a whole nother story. But that's what I'm saying is,
When he was at the beach. From all the beaches.
whether we like it or not, this is the current world we live in. My job is to protect you guys, to make sure that you understand what you're supposed to be doing and what shouldn't be done. I just thought that this was a good opportunity to enlighten you that we're all human. Mistakes happen, but let's correct them.
I just wanna make a statement as like a very new agent. The keywords here are fair housing, and, as a coach, I look at it like a sport, and, you know, we want everybody to be on the same playing field so that, you know, the most qualified buyer, the most qualified athlete can actually win the game and finish the race, so.
Exactly,
Here, here.
exactly.
Well said.
Well said.
Well done, coach.
All right, so are we good on that?
Yes.
It was heated, I knew it was gonna get heated, because it's a heated
No, I just
topic.
have
But it's
questions.
good, that's what I want, you know? I don't wanna be the one sitting up here speaking to you guys all the time. You guys have your voices and they should be
Strange
heard,
that I don't know how to handle.
all right?
They don't want girls.
We're seasoned agents and we
Yeah.
Or we can say what we can't say.
You think that's right?
Yes.
Very limited.
All right, so I know now, right, I heard what you said, Sandy. We are one company, and we're one office within a company. So all I can do is make sure that the 65 licenses under my control are doing the right thing. Part of the reason why I'm taping this, so that they can watch it on YouTube down the road. Because how many are there here?
And
There's
it's
what,
very, it's
8?
very simple. Treat everybody the same and you're not.
Exactly. Exactly.
It shouldn't always be like that.
Exactly.
But these things come up.
We know it doesn't happen. I mean, you know, I had a conversation with I'd say little Lillian the other day, and she was like, well, somebody told me flat out that their landlord's not taking Section 8. And so I had to sit there and listen to her vent for an hour, and I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? Give me the name. Nope, I don't want to get involved. So that's the thing. Don't complain about it and do nothing. If you come up with something, I'm here to fight with you, fight for you. So, not with you. Brian is the only one I fight for.
Oh, that Freud.
Right?
For you, not with you, all right? So it does still happen out there, and what do I say all the time? You guys are better than 99% of your competition because of the training that you get. So take advantage of it and be better than what's out there, okay? Good? All right, so that's that. Any
Can I ask-
updates
Can I
on?
ask you a question before we leave that? I know some people talked about like taking pictures of the buyers, which I think is a little creepy.
No,
But isn't that a workaround, or is that?
no, it's the same thing. If you're sending them a picture,
You better
you
send
know,
them.
they're gonna make a prejudged notion of who that person is.
I'm saying if it's on my phone, you remember these people?
No.
No. You can't do, first of all, it's not gonna come into play, because you're never gonna be face to face with the seller to give an offer anyway, unless it's your listing. Okay? And in the case of your listing, not that it's always right, you're supposed to be doing what's in the best interest of the seller. Like Marietta said, a lot of listing agents push their offer anyway. But your job as a listing agent is to do what's in the best interest of the seller. So you're not ever gonna get the opportunity to sit face to face with the seller if it's not yours, to show them the picture anyway. So, but it's not a good idea.
Isn't it great how we all follow the rules and we have everything written down and then nobody else does? And
Oh, no, they don't.
I have this all the time.
all the time.
And the small agencies, they have no
Yeah,
clue
you know
what
it's
to
all-
buy.
He knows them.
And it's mostly the agents from Queens.
No, there's
Oh,
plenty
yes,
here
I
that
saw
do
one
it
too,
too.
but-
I know, yes, Joe, yes, Joe. Joe has
Does anybody here on you know how to do a conference call from our phone system?
I will show you when we go upstairs. There is a conference button. You should be able to do it, but
I
yeah.
wound up talking to the police department.
Because you kept doing two or.
I will definitely try to figure that out for you.
Dial 911.
There's a conference.
There's a conference
There's a
button.
conference.
There's a conference button.
Why don't you just do it on your cell
I
phone?
haven't done it in a while, but I can definitely figure it out.
Conference call calling your cell phone.
Yeah, you can,
Everywhere, sure.
absolutely.
That's the
It's easier to hear both people at the
It's
same time.
easier.
It's easier on the cell phone.
That's the easiest thing to do.
Joe, yeah.
Joe, all right, Joe, somebody will help you after the meeting to figure out how to do
Is
it.
there an app? Is there
All
an
right.
app?
There's an app. All right,
I don't.
okay, so let's bring it back, guys.
I want to say something about all this.
Okay.
A second, about the, presenting, if you're the listing agent, not wanting everybody to present their own offer. For years, I've been a firm believer of, I'll present all offers, and however you persuade the seller, that's what they're gonna offer, usually, right? But I'm starting to believe now, it's better if I knew how to do a conference call to let the seller bring the buyer, agent, bring the bad news to the seller.
Absolutely.
And keep me
I
out.
always do.
I
I
always
always
did
put
that.
conference call.
I never
Somebody
understood
teach me
that
how to
either,
do a
quite
conference.
honestly, because what happens, okay.
Use your cell phone.
So, let's just say, for argument's sake, conference call, no conference call. I think conference call is the best way to do it. I cannot stand when people put cannot be present, because you know what happens is, you guys present your offers, and then I get the calls from the agents on the Monday after the open house or whenever, saying, well, they didn't present my offer. And
it's not
then it's a whole bunch of, I don't trust you, nobody trusts you. So if you let them speak to the seller directly, they have
Yeah.
nothing to fight.
No feedback.
That's
All
it.
my listing says can be present.
Can be
Let
present.
them talk.
Can be present.
Can be present, yes.
Conference
What do you
call-
have to do? As a listing agent, all you have to do to your seller is say, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we're gonna do a call, just listen, don't even say anything.
Right.
And when they're done speaking, you say, thank you, I will speak to Joe and get back to you.
Exactly.
Joe will get back to you. That's all they're supposed to say as a seller.
A couple of times there were
That's it.
cases that the owner was in with the kids and stuff like that, was, I cannot do it, can you do it? I'm like, send me an email, I'm forwarding to the listing, whatever, the
Right.
buyer's agent or something.
Exactly.
So I'm not the thing.
Yeah, because when
she
you
didn't
don't
wanna
allow
do
them to do it, they automatically assume what? You're trying to sell it yourself, you're not presenting my offer, right? So just
Well,
eliminate that.
It depends
Eliminate.
on how you treat the agent.
The best is when you did it in person, remember? You
yeah.
invite the selling agent over and
Yeah.
sit down,
Oh, yeah.
and it's very
I
funny.
know.
We had one house in Valley Street, we had 10 agents in there, remember that house on Gibson?
Were they all dressed up
We
with
had
their ties
10
and
agents
ties?
lined up
It's
in their
hysterical.
cars to come in and present.
I did a
Very
couple of
funny.
times.
That's still
I was
a good way to do
online,
it.
I did a couple of
It's
times. Yeah, I was waiting to present my own offer, I was
Yeah.
in line.
You were in line, yeah.
Now, the best was they took our offer, one from Elma,
Yeah,
they took our offer because they wanted us to do the deal. They didn't care if they had higher
They-
offers.
yes.
Yeah.
They came to
Yeah.
our
The
offer.
seller still has a right to choose the offer that they want, and sometimes the highest number isn't always
It's
the
not
best
not
offer.
always the best.
Sometimes the terms are better. You get a seller who lists their house in February or March, but they want their kids to finish school. So somebody who comes in, all cash, I'll move in 30 days,
No,
that's not gonna be the
that's not
offer for
good.
that seller, right? And people sometimes don't understand that. I saw it, it closed, and it was less than my offer. You don't know what happened, you know what?
Terms.
Could have been a higher offer, there were problems at the engineer's inspection, things were renegotiated.
Could have been all cash. you
Could have
know.
been anything.
At the
Could
end
have
of the
been
day,
any
do the
number of
right thing
reasons.
for the
Right.
thing, so you don't.
The seller still gets to choose what they wanna do, all right? The seller, when you're listing a property, the seller's needs are first and foremost. So, not the other agents, not the other buyers, that's first and foremost, okay? So a lot of times, it's not always the best number. Sometimes it's, it's the terms, all right?
Lily, remember Virginia?
Price and terms.
I would like to compliment Doc Luke.
Thank you, Joe. Mike, you hear that?
If there's anybody that's not becoming familiar with Dot Loop, try to do it because it's really a time saver.
Yep.
And speaking of this, I had an agent that sent me, she made an offer, I presented it and such, and I get the seller to always sign off on every offer I make to him. I get him to sign something for me. Anyway, so she sent me the MLS affidavit acknowledgement of the offer was presented. So she like emailed that to me. So I thought, I wonder if I could get this thing that she emailed to me, so I downloaded it, I got it into Dot Loop, and you can freaking sign it on Dot Loop.
Yes, yeah.
Even though she emailed it to me.
Yeah.
I
You
thought
can
I had
add a
printed.
signature, you can add initials, you can, whatever. You scan something into Dot Loop and you wanna add a signature to it, you can do
Yeah,
it. It's
was
so
a piece of
easy.
cake.
Yeah,
And the agent was very satisfied,
There you go.
everybody was on the same page.
voila.
What is that? You
I
did
just
that?
added, yeah, add signature, add initials. So you know how when I kick paperwork back to you and I tell you you gotta get the seller to change it? If you do it through Dot Loop, it wipes out any existing signatures, so they're gonna have to re-sign it. But say you gave me a PDF form that was scanned in,
Uh-huh.
you can then add initials so that you can send it to them and have them initial that the change that was made, all right?
Yes.
Any changes you get made after the original signature need to be initialed. It should be dated, but this will timestamp it.
When you have a second, when I did a dot loop thing to send it, to sign and send out, so I included myself on it to make sure I would see what the seller was getting. And I keep getting a reminder every single day, several times a day, that there's something left for me to do.
Yeah.
That I was assigned something and I'm not doing it, and I don't
Yeah.
know how to get that off and out, because it's been done.
I don't know, yeah, so I wouldn't
Oh,
include
sorry.
yourself because you add a new loop when you do that, so you
I
probably have
didn't- yeah, I
two
wanted
loops
to
in
see
there.
what,
If
but
you
what-
share it, first of all, you never have to share anything with me. I see whatever you guys do in Dot Loop, I see it. It shows up on my dashboard, okay? So you don't need to ever share anything with me. When you share it with me, it adds a whole new loop. So when I go in and I check an address, sometimes I will see two loops. And then Nina and I are going crazy trying to find,
Uh-huh.
you tell me, I'm like, well, you're missing your sales agreement, the closing's coming, you're missing the sales agreement, pre-approval, and your deal sheet, and you're like, I put it in there, and it turns out it's in another loop. Because when you share it with me, you don't have to share it with the office, you don't have to share it with me, you just have to submit for review is the button you need to hit, okay? So I'm trying to see, like I just did updated agency test, this is my dashboard now, so there it is. I'm trying to think, there was one, of course, it's not gonna come to me right now, but there was one that was done with somebody shared, oh, what's the listing Mohammed has?
Cherry Lane.
I don't know if it's that one. No, there's only one there. What's his, the Queens Village one that he has? Colfax. I have two, yeah, see? So there's two loops there for Colfax, and it's the same one. So if he puts all the paperwork in here and I check here, so don't share anything with me, do submit for review.
I also discovered the activity log, which is
Isn't
very
that a
cool.
beautiful thing? And that becomes your proof now.
Yes.
When you send something to someone and they're like, I didn't get it. Sorry, guys. I didn't get it. You look at your activity log and it says, you can say, BS, you opened it on blah, blah, blah at this time.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if you go into, so let's go into the one I just did. Right here. See, right next to submit for review, that's the button you guys should be hitting. That's how I know when you guys do a deal sheet, you hit submit for review, then that's how I know something's in contract and ready for me to do what I gotta do. So you go in here, see, Lori and Coyote, view document, right here, at 10:22 today. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Good program.
Right, so. All right, we digress, dot loop. So, open houses this weekend. Lily's doing an open house at her new listing, you wanna talk about it?
Yes, it's colonial, 3 bedrooms, updated kitchen, updated baths, finished attic, unfinished basement, 549, open
East Rockaway, what school district?
19, East Rockaway District, big property, 50 by 144.
But don't you already have an offer from that nice Irish couple?
It just came yesterday, late night.
No.
Maria Lind is,
She has a.
Oh,
she
yes,
has
a
an
nice
offer.
Italian couple.
she has,
Right. Such a white.
Yeah.
Maybe over.
I don't know, just the listing price 549, 18 Clark Street in East Rockaway. Off of Center.
Tomorrow from 1 to 3, right?
Right near my house, I can walk there.
Yeah, you live in East Rockaway?
I'm like bordering East Rockaway and Lynbrook.
Oh, okay.
So you're across from.
You can't say you can walk there,
Oh,
it's
okay,
near
so-
your house.
Yeah, no walk.
Take
Do
a
they
nice
know
walk.
about that? No walking?
No, yeah, you can't say walk.
Yeah, no, you cannot say walking.
Can't say
walking.
It's right where the train station.
Let's just rephrase that. You can say you can walk, I can walk there, you know, but you can't advertise walk to. It's all.
By the way, it has handicap access. So the people that they bought it from, they were handicapped. So
And it
there's
has
a
a ramp?
ramp, yeah,
Okay.
if somebody has a question.
Okay.
So, and a white bathroom door
Really?
to, you know, for a person.
Okay.
Does it have a basement?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's not finished.
Okay.
It's not too tall because those colonials, older colonials were built.
Right.
Yeah, but you can finish. I finished mine when I bought it. It's like 7, I think, or no, 6, 5, something, yeah. If you have a tall people,
Yeah, that,
it might not, yeah.
I.
Can you say tall or short?
As far as I know, height is not a protected class yet, so it's still in front of me for being short.
There is, next year will be, your fat or skinny.
Joe, good things come in small packages, just remember
You
that.
cannot say the eye color, you cannot say that.
All right, oh, stop it, no politics in the office. Brian, you wanna talk about Alameda and Alameda only?
It was
Only?
So, doing an open house Sunday, 1:30 to 2:30.
Speak up, please.
It is a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 26-hour meter. It's in Inwood, which is in 5 towns.
That's
A
right.
little bit industrial and residential area, but it's,
Yeah, I saw that.
block is okay.
We'll go from there up there.
Yeah, it's built in
Construction, did he say that?
2019, so it's a
Yeah,
newer.
new construction.
What did it say, a million?
5 bedroom.
1 million is asked.
It's a new
It's
construction.
one
Well, it's a
family?
3-story, it has about 4,000 square feet inside.
But it's legal one family?
Right.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Can it be up to?
No.
How
You
close
have to
is,
When
convert
you
it.
rent
You have
rooms.
to come to town and
Not-
try
not
to do that.
legally.
What are the taxes?
may I ask a question?
Taxes are 7,500, but they're gonna, once they get the CO, it's gonna be, go up to probably like 10 to 12.
But it's still good over
May I
there,
ask
there's
a
no
question?
village.
Yeah.
And it's Queens, so it's not
It's,
gonna
no,
be.
it's Long Island.
Long Island?
It's one
Yeah,
of
it's
5
the 5
towns.
towns.
Oh my God, but
Yeah.
how
Everybody
many
forgets
years?
that.
Why did it
Yeah,
it's gonna be
but
10,000?
It's about 7
Yeah.
minutes from JFK.
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
How close is it to the touchdown zone for 31 right? Right, 3
About 20
miles.
miles.
It's less than 2
Joe
miles.
used to work at JFK, that's why he's
You
asking.
don't touchdown zone,
He used to be a mayor trucker.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there's 2 houses on the block, 2 brand-new houses, right next to each other.
Skid marks on the roof?
How far is it from
They have a
Burnside
5K
Avenue?
where you run the
It's not too far.
Like it's
It's,
right,
Oh, wow.
right over there.
Yeah, Sheridan goes into Farmington.
It's from Carroll's
Yeah,
Falls.
so Sheridan to Bayview to the house.
It's a really cute area.
Gloria, those
Is
It's-
that right next, right near the
It's
bicycle?
across from a yard that is rented to a
Which floors?
trucking
Which
company.
We're talking about.
Fair housing is
There is
federal.
a view.
Well, no, it goes
Yeah.
local, remember you have your
But it's
federal
right.
fair housing laws, then you have your state, and then you have your local. So for Nassau County, Suffolk County, the only fair housing laws that are different, but they're now all in New York State, are a source of income. So, but then for the state, remember I gave you that list, and it said federal is national origin, race, creed, religion, and then state adds military status, domestic violence, all of that.
So now how's about the city, Queens and Brooklyn and Manhattan?
Yeah, they're bound by all the same laws, yeah, same laws. It's a state,
You can't tell the sellers that the buyers is
no.
Really?
I have to double check it, but according to that sheet, it depends where it was. I think state was military. So the city is, yeah, because the only ones added in the city were, alienage and legal citizenship status, because New York City is a sanctuary city. So that was the only thing different. Once you cross into Queens, you can't ask somebody if they have a green card. So, that's,
We're talking military service.
military's under state protection, yeah. So,
So you can't tell the seller, this is a military family.
nope.
Why not?
Because
It's a protected
No.
class. It's a protected
You saw
status.
that list that's luring him.
Yeah,
every
did
time
you
we're-
not? Now I know to download it on their phone. You guys are supposed to take a picture and download it on your phone. That list,
Yeah, I
yeah.
have.
There you go, yep.
Oh, wait, I have a question. What about those referrals we get from the military
I don't think
website?
somebody just told me USA was dropped.
Were they?
Did you hear that, Lily? I think Colleen was telling me yesterday that they dropped USAA.
Really?
Hard
Yeah,
stop.
they are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing.
So,
Oh, what about if somebody's going for a veteran's mortgage,
well, they'll know then that
that they're a veteran?
and that's part of their terms though. It's a VA loan,
Yeah.
which we all know is at the bottom of the pile because VA loans have zero down
0%
payment.
down.
And a lot of the people that are coming here don't realize that the lawyers in New York are not gonna let them buy a house with no money down. They still have to put something down.
Right.
So,
So then we don't
Right,
want to take
exactly.
veterans out to look at houses. All right.
I'll take them every day.
Got it.
yeah.
Home Depot gives me.
You can take them, you can take them, you just have to warn them, because a lot of times they're working with very limited budgets, right? So it's gonna be hard to find a house in that price range on Long Island to begin
But
with.
if they have an eligibility certificate from the VA, that's money in the bank.
Right,
It's
exactly.
guaranteed.
You got a blanket.
Yep.
Right.
But if you,
No
all
work.
other things
Oh,
being
yeah,
equal,
yeah.
right? Because a VA loan is a little stricter than somebody who comes in all cash. All cash is gonna knock out any kind of loan, right? Doesn't matter. Then you have somebody who's conventional, it's a $500,000 house and they're putting down $200,000. You're gonna tell the seller to take $500,000, $200,000 down, or a VA loan that's $500,000 zero down. There's differences there, right? Because there's still risks involved. So because a VA loan, I'll tell you my personal experience, I sold a house in Baldwin to somebody with a VA loan. And the home inspection said that there was evidence of prior termite damage. So the seller provided the 1-year guarantee, but the VA loan kicked it back saying that they wanted the beam in the basement that showed the termite damage replaced. The seller was already down in Virginia and said, I'm not doing anything. Either take it as is or whatever. So the buyer said, well, can I go fix it myself? The inspector just said all it needed to be was cistern. So guess who's standing there holding a beam at 5 o'clock the night before the closing while the buyer? Yes, thank
Sister
you.
Lori.
Right, and I had to take a picture of it and send it to the mortgage person. But that's the thing, is VA loans are a little bit stricter, just like an FHA loan, right? It all has to do with the terms of the program.
Yeah.
So it doesn't speak to the people, it speaks to the terms of the program that they're using, okay? So, that's how that works,
All right.
all right?
Robust, very robust.
If you have a VA customer, you better go to the
We
agent.
want to
who
help
have
everybody,
experience
right?
with VA.
Our job is to help people find the homes of their dreams. So we want to help everybody. Just comes from experience, you know that certain things are going to be harder to do than others. Especially if it's that hot house that they're getting a bidding war on. The lower down payment, the harder mortgage is going to be towards the bottom of the barrel, right? As opposed to the person who's coming in all cash or a large down payment. It's just the facts of life.
Yep,
Right.
cash is king.
Right, exactly. You guys have anything else for me?
Nope.
You have your privilege of the floor.
Don't do any work this week.
I don't know how many agents here are working Queens or working Queens, but we have a nice co-op in Woodhaven. It's a beautiful building. It's a 1-bedroom, nice building. If you're familiar with that part of Queens, in Forest Park.
Yeah.
It's right outside of Forest Park, which is a great place.
Nice.
The maintenance is $426 a month, and it includes all the utilities. So it's fairly easy to show. We have the key.
Is there any requirement for down payment, 20% or no?
I have to double check it because the management company said he was gonna call me back. I think it's a 20%.
Yeah, because this is a state, so
Most
it's
of the
hard.
co-ops are.
Yeah.
But it's not big.
How much was it?
It's listed at 185, and they're selling for that and higher. It was listed before with somebody who did nothing at all, and he just sat on it. I think he had one showing in 6 months
What's the parking?
on the street.
On the street? Or to the side?
A disaster.
Well, she
Well,
goes
there
in
is-
nice
that's-
in the car.
That's the problem for somebody that's coming from here. If people already live in the city,
No,
they're
they don't
accustomed
get
to that. They
that.
don't get
Yes, it's
There is a waiting list for parking, but
Whatever.
it's like years and years and years and years. So
Years.
it's basically street
Alright,
parking, but it's a beautiful building. It really is a beautiful building. Nice area, nice surroundings. That park is a big thing.
It's a co-op.
It's co-op.
Anybody else? No? All right, So go get some listings so that you too can talk about your listings at the next meeting.
Actually, not doing any more work.
Good luck.
I'm afraid.
I did not afraid to